Everybody, welcome back to another episode of DB's Comic Talk, episode 3, talking about the Button again. This is part 2. We just had Batman 22 and Flash 22 come out. Both really nice comic book covers. Again, the foil job again on here with the hologram and everything. It looks really cool the way they did it. So we'll just jump right into these again. We're going to wrap this up. This event, it was only a small event. It was just 4 episodes, but it was actually pretty good. First off here, Batman 22 picked up. That came out last week, or 2 weeks ago, sorry. The cover, again, really cool cover. It has Thomas Wayne as Batman and Bruce as Batman, both sort of looking over the deaths. It's a really neat cover the way they did it. They really did a good job on these, and they didn't really jack the prices up on them either, which is also pretty cool. So this just starts off kind of recapping Flashpoint a little bit again, which we've already known about, and it looks like the battle has really taken toll on him. The interesting thing here is that Flashpoint never went away. When Flash sort of ran away and left, you thought this world was going to end, but it didn't. It kind of went on. So it just shows you that really a broken Thomas Wayne sitting here waiting to be assassinated by forces from Aquaman and Wonder Woman, who have kind of now joined forces and taken over this Flashpoint world. So that was kind of the confusing thing, is why is it still here? What's going on with it? Which they dig into a little bit later. Flash and Batman then arrive off the treadmill, and they're, of course, shocked to see where they're at, and they had the little reunion here with Bruce and his dad. This book was really, I think, one of the weaker parts of the 4-part series. All it really was just a chance you wanted to see these two guys interact. It was just a couple pages of them really interacting. Bruce to meet his father. It's the two Batmans coming together. And I really just didn't like the way they did it. I don't like how they really didn't say much between each other. I know they didn't have a lot of time, and half the time Bruce is just in shock and they're both in sort of disbelief. Thomas Wayne then, go to the next part here, he's very pissed that, Barry is back here. You promised you would protect my son and get him out of here, and you sort of lied to me. Why is this world held together like this? So they kind of get to the gist of it, that someone is keeping this world as it is, as Flashpoint, frozen where it's at. They're holding it in time. It hasn't broken up yet for some reason. So, you can use your thoughts of who you think that is, whether it's Dr. Manhattan, whatever force they're facing. But then they're stuck in this Batcave, sort of in this scene here where they have to fight off these guys while Barry tries to rebuild the treadmill. The cool scene I thought was good here is you see the two Batmans in the bottom. They put their masks on together. They're really not that far apart in age, which is kind of, he's older than Bruce, but he's not super older than an old man that he can't fight. They still look cool when they're in the suits together. This is, like I said, the only cool part is just seeing the two Batmans team up together and fight. Thomas Wayne's actually going to try the gun part, but Bruce kind of convinces him to just go fight. Then you see a nice big splash page as the two Batmans working together, father and son. Like I said, this is the best part of it. It really didn't add much to the story of, what they're doing with the Watchmen stuff. This was just to give people a little taste of, this is what it'd be like if you had the two Batmans working together, father and son meeting each other. So then it just goes into the treadmill being ready, and they kind of did this thing where Bruce comes around to realizing that it is his father, and he sort of wants his dad to come with him. He starts telling him that he's a grandfather, and that, there's all these things he wants him to see. And I kind of thought here for a second maybe they were going to have him go. I actually wanted him to go. I thought that would have been a cool little twist to the storyline to see Thomas Wayne show up in the Rebirth world now and kind of go off that. They've never done that in a Batman book before. Imagine having two Batmans, father and son. I really don't know why they didn't. I don't know why he decided he puts Bruce on there, then he gives him this speech about that, Flash, you have to save my son and everything. He basically tells him the world doesn't need Batman anymore, and I forgive you, and you're over it, you've repented enough. We've heard that kind of stuff before in Batman books, but this was straight from his father's voice. I really don't get why he just didn't jump on a treadmill with him and go and live a life with his son. He decides to stay behind, and for some reason, he just kind of goes kamikaze, he blows up the place, and you can see the world at that point start crumbling down around him. So whoever was holding the planet in check now just basically at this point conveniently just lets it go. Again, I don't know why Thomas Wayne stays behind. I don't really understand it. I guess because they don't want him in the Rebirth world, and this character is just a one-and-done kind of appearance here. But I would actually like to see them build off on that a little bit more. But they didn't. They move into Barry and Bruce on the treadmill again, and then you get into an interesting part here at the end of the book. They run into Zoom, who is, I think, this is the part where he is actually bringing the button. If you go back to Rebirth, the original Rebirth book last year, where the button arrives in the Batcave, this is how it got there. So this is Zoom bringing it to him, and they're just happening to catch him at that point. He seems kind of surprised to see Barry there and wonders how he caught up with them. Barry, of course, tries to explain to him, look, you're running to your death. You don't know really what you're doing here. And he's like, no, trust me, people never face someone like me. And that's kind of how that one ends. You know what his fate's going to be. So a couple weeks later, we ran into this week. This Wednesday came out. Flash 22, which this cover is amazing. Everybody knows I'm a big JSA guy. I love Jay Garrick. I love the old JSA team. And this cover has... A picture really doesn't do it justice, because you got to see how it breaks down between old Jay Garrick from like the 40s and how they have him drawn new here. It made me really excited for this book that he was going to be in it. It looks really good. These Flash books, I don't really like the art as much as I do in the Batman books. It's still good, though, but they draw them a little different. Too much lightning for me. A lot of lightning, a lot of stuff going on. It's hard to like tell what's happening, but picks up right where it's left off. Zoom, running with the button, talking about the power that it possesses. He actually brings up some interesting things. He talks about Barry snapping his neck, which that happened a long time ago. That was pre-New 52. He talks about like when he went and killed Barry's mom. He's bringing up a lot of different things that happened to him that he did along the timeline. He also says something that's really messed up, that his plan now, he wants to go back in time, kidnap Barry, and raise him to be his son, which is kind of odd, his acolyte as he calls him. And he keeps talking about the button, that he knows the power behind it and what he's going to do with it. I'm not really sure how he got it or where it came from or any of that. I mean, because he was dead at the end of Flashpoint when Thomas Wayne killed him. So it's very strange where he came from, what's going on. Maybe they'll explore that a little bit down the road here. But he then arrives at the Batcave at the time he was supposed to be, throws the button into the cave, everything as planned as it happened before. But then you see an odd page after that, which, again, I'm not really sure with how he showed up in the first episode, and he got there and he disappeared for a little while, then he came back to here. A little confused on the timeline here where everything went down, but he shows up here. He gets obliterated by someone that he, again, refers to as God. It's the Blue Manhattan Energy again, so it could be him. And he just gets killed. He just gets destroyed, completely skin flayed off the bone, everything, and he's just gone. He's a pile of ash. After that, then you see that Batman and Barry are now, like, trapped in the Speed Force. The treadmill's gone. Someone is calling out to him, and Barry's saying, you got to ignore these voices, they're apparitions. He's like, no, I hear somebody says the word Jay, which of course signifies the return of Jay Garrick, who is the classic Jay Garrick, is the old man Jay Garrick. I love Jay Garrick. The art looked cool here, the way he came running in. He saves the day like always, gets Barry and Bruce through the portal. I was so excited to have him back that I was really upset what came after that, because I thought, like, wow, he's back. Maybe this is finally to signify that JSA is back. The next page, you see him sort of telling him that somebody took time away from him. Someone took everything from him, is what he says. All his friends, all his family, his pure existence was removed in New 52. He doesn't know why. No one can remember him. He needs that anchor to this world like Wally had Barry. That's how he brought him through. And like Flash reaches out with him, but then he's instantly zapped with blue energy. It doesn't look like it kills him. It looks more like it sort of teleports him out there. So I don't really think that he's gone for good. Maybe I've heard rumors they're going to make him young again and they're going to do something like that. But to me, DC Comics needs Jay Garrick. He needs to be back in this lineup. Him and the JSA need to be here. They're a part of the foundation of the DC Universe. And New 52's biggest mistake was trying to do a different version of them in Earth 2, which I don't think worked. Some people like that book, but that's your own prerogative. I didn't. We didn't see the next page where he's kind of gone. They're all in shock. They're visiting the graves. They're both just kind of been put through the ringer. I think especially Batman, this really hit him hard and sort of really rattled him, it appeared. He looks like he doesn't know what he wants to do with himself. He wants to still continue investigating this, but he's really shaken to the core, which I guess you would be if you just saw your dead father dressed as you and fighting and all this and you lost him again. It would really mess you up. So towards the end here then, interesting page here, you see the bat symbol on, and they're sort of doing this thing again where Batman doesn't know if he wants to be Batman anymore. Let Batman die with me, it was the phrase that Thomas said to him. This kind of irritates me. I hate when they go down this road of Bruce doesn't want to be Batman anymore because he doesn't want to do it for his parents. I'm kind of the nature that Bruce does Batman because Gotham needs Batman. He knows that Batman's needed. He's past that it's for his parents. He's past the part that he does this to get revenge on their death and avenge them. He does this because the city needs him, and he's a symbol of hope in that city. So I don't know if they're going to go down through this tired storyline where he quits again and someone has to take up the mantle. I hope they skip that. I hope something happened here that gets him back to where he is, because I don't like broken Batman. I mean, we've been up and down with Batman through 52 and everything. I want Batman back where he was, and we finally have a good version of him, and I don't want to see that happen. So we'll see how that plays out. Then you just see the button kind of laying there, and then you see that it's actually picked up by a glowing blue hand, which of course has to be Dr. Manhattan, or maybe Captain Atom, or somebody of that nature with that power, but it looks a lot like Manhattan picking up the button. It goes into an epilogue here. I'm not really sure what the next steps will be, but when you turn the page, you see that the button's floating around. Somehow it kind of transmorphs into the Superman symbol on Superman's chest. This is all leading up to the event coming at the end that they're going to do, that's basically going to, what I think is going to pit somehow Superman versus Dr. Manhattan, which I still don't even think is a fair fight in some way or shape or form, because it's just building up to what we posted on our Instagram page a couple days ago, is this book, The Doomsday Clock. The Doomsday Clock is what they referenced in Watchmen all the time when World War III was actually going to happen. Now they're talking about it. If you notice, the clock, it keeps moving. It was moving in Rebirth. It's moving now. It's getting close. But at midnight is the Superman symbol. So in November, we're going to get something really cool. I think this issue, it's 6 issues. It's not, you don't have to read all these books to tie into it. You just can pick up Doomsday Clock 1 through 6, which is kind of cool. You don't have to read a million things like Secret Empire over in Marvel. So I think it's going to be cool. I hope through the summer we continue with these little hints in Batman and Flash and Titans. I would like to see more of that. I would like to see them slowly building this. I mean, if you think about it, this is such an epic storyline to me because it started last year around this time, and they're still going with it. They didn't already expose it all and go with it, even though everybody thinks it's been Dr. Manhattan. They haven't come out and said it. So I think it's cool the way they're building this universe and building Rebirth, fixing these timelines and bringing everybody slowly back instead of all at once. I think it's a really good idea. Jeff Johns is doing Doomsday Clock. I think he's brilliant. So I think this is going to be really cool. So, let me know what you think. I'll review some more DC books coming up. We're, of course, going to do more Secret Empire as that comes out, too. But yeah, there'll be a lot of cool DC stuff. I want to dive into Titans a little bit and talk about them because they have some cool stuff going on. So does Batman and Superman. So, again, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. And have a good one. Talk to you later.